are now. We did have some pretty good stuff on Tuesday. We got a lot of information yesterday and a little bit today. But what we got today just confirmed what we were hearing yesterday. And I'll try to bring it to you the way I can remember it the best. We talk about Iraq because we know that Iraq has sort of been the linchpin in this thing. And even though they've sort of had an in-country rate for a while, it hasn't really been made visible. And for the people of Iraq, they still have not seen the new value rate of the dinar. Now, let me say this. There was a special printing of the Gazette yesterday, sort of a special edition, if you will, that came out. And I heard from our sources in Fallujah that, and they've got strong government connections of the government of Iraq. They were able to take a physical look and read that printed version of the Gazette while they were on with our sources here in the U.S. Okay? So they saw the budget in the Gazette. They saw some other things in there. They saw the rate. They saw various aspects of that. But I also heard today that it was going to be another 48 hours from 5 o'clock today before the people of Iraq would have full access to the printed version of the Gazette. That kind of blew my mind. You mean the people of Iraq don't even see it yet? They don't even know it? They don't even want them to have it until Saturday at about 5 o'clock. That'd be 48 hours from today. 5 o'clock today, 48 hours, that's around 5 o'clock on Saturday. So I'm thinking, okay, that's interesting. All right. So we do know kind of what's in it, but and some people do, but not everybody. That's kind of wild, I think. So I think really from what we're looking for from Iraq in terms of the budget and the rate and all that stuff, it's basically complete now. It's complete. Now, in addition to that, you remember Tuesday I talked to you about currencies, and more specifically, the new USN being moved in the quadrillions around the world in various countries, various continents. That is not only the USN, but other currencies, and it also includes gold and silver. Gold and silver is moving into place around the world. Now, we have firsthand knowledge of a situation where in Canada, through one of the main banks, some of our contacts went in yesterday, and the private banker that they talked to told them to take a look and said, I've got here 2 boxes of gold and 3 boxes of silver. And we call what they received, I believe the coins are going to be the gold coins, are going to be called, they call them bits, and the those little 5-ounce and 10-ounce silver bars, those little thin bars, they call those slugs. Those that trade these things, that's what they call them, slugs and bits. So I have a feeling that happened in Canada. It should be happening here, and it should be happening in other places that have gold and silver asset-backed currencies. Now, we know that our USN, the physical money, is moving around the globe. It may or may not be in bank vaults here already, but we know that it's supposed to be coming out pretty soon. Along with that, we know that the USN, which is to be gold and silver backed and possibly other assets as well, as we come back on an asset-backed currency, we're looking for that to occur Um, and it may be out, but it should be acknowledged by President Trump in a pre-recorded announcement that my understanding is that he has made, and that will be aired sometime Saturday. Now, I've got 2 or 3 sources that are confirming the timing of that airing. We'll have to see when that is. But it should be a very positive thing for us to know that we have essentially done what we needed to do to get our currency asset backed again. Now, I don't think the announcement is going to get really deep into the language that we might be used to hearing. There might be some language used by the president that would be relative to level the playing field. He might make reference to the fact that China and Russia have gold-backed currencies now. I don't know, but I'm just saying it might end up being sort of a soft announcement. We'll see. But I'm really encouraged that that should take place. And we should have our gold-backed dollar, which we tend to call the USN, in place by Monday morning. Maybe sooner. It could be traded if this announcement takes place Saturday. It could be traded starting Saturday night. It may continue to be traded right on through. But we understand that it should be in place for our markets to open Monday morning. Some of the reason is because we need that in order to keep China from getting all of the oil business from using their gold-backed yuan, their so-called petro-yuan. Remember, we've had the petrodollar for so long, and it's kind of fallen out of favor because, the fiat dollar that we've had is backed only by the full faith and credit of the United States government. Well, to have our currency back on the gold standard as an asset-backed currency gives us much, much more credibility in the world, and it gives our value to the dollar could be even greater than it is now. I remember a few years ago some people were talking about the U.S. dollar losing value of 40 or 50%. I never bought it. Sorry. I think now we're at the point where our dollar may come in with a revalued rate on the screens where it may not be as strong as it is right now. I've heard it could drop 7 or 8% in value against other world currencies. But the idea of a 40 or 50% drop, I don't see that as happening at all. Now, what will happen is our dollar is seen as asset-backed, as gold and silver-backed. We should regain any slight reduction in the value across the world of, say, 7 or 8%. We should gain that back as our economy improves, as everything that the president is doing to really help us with our taxes and everything else that's going on. In a positive way, I believe our dollar will be as strong as it's ever been, maybe stronger than it's ever been. Even though the playing field will be leveled with a lot of countries that are third world and a lot of countries that are in the Far East that have had currencies that have been very, very depressed compared to others. This is going to make it a lot more fair throughout the world. There's going to be so much money digitally available through these exchanges that we're not even going to be able to pronounce the numbers that could represent the number of zeros after the one. It's almost too much to fathom. But we do know that quadrillions of new money, if you will, has been moving in the last few days and will continue to move, I'm sure, as well as gold and silver. So I wanted to let you know about that. Now, what about when we get to start? That's what everybody wants to know. I've heard several people today tell me that we are looking to be notified possibly as early as Saturday afternoon, evening. But as far as when we could start with exchanges, it's more likely that we would get notified Monday afternoon and possibly start exchanging Tuesday morning. Now, I hate to pick a date, and I'm not trying to call it. I'm only telling you right now, guys, what I'm hearing. This is what I'm hearing from several sources that I respect. We'll see what happens. We'll see how it goes. I hoped we'd have something before Easter, but right now it doesn't look like it in terms of our own exchanges. Okay? I think next week is looking very, very strong. I think that we finally have, with the advent of the gold-backed dollar, that's something that needed to happen. With the advent of the dinar rate out and budget in the Gazette, that kind of needed to happen. I'm sure there's some other things behind the scenes. There had to be more cleanup on aisle 3. That is happening and has happened very, very much. There's quite a bit of that going on that we don't quite see. It's behind the scenes. We'll find out more about it as time goes on. But I really feel that at this point, we're finally getting down to the very end. And without, let's put it this way. Based on all the information over the last few days, everything is pointing toward a wonderful week for us next week. We have people that have done exchanges recently that have had partial funds given to them yesterday that told they'd have the balance of their funds on Tuesday. We've got several cases like that. So maybe that means something. Maybe that means that's going to be a great day. I don't know. But I feel like everything that I'm hearing is pointing toward a wonderful weekend or great week next week. I'm hoping that's the case for all of us. Rates on the dinar, we know right now somewhere between $7 and $8 on the in-country rate. Zim is just going up, up, up. I couldn't believe when I heard the front screen rate the other day. Yesterday, actually. Anybody on this call would be happy with the front screen rate on the Zim right now. Anybody. It's that good. And I think what's going to happen is when our dollar is confirmed as gold-backed and the announcement is made by the president and they start trading on it essentially Monday morning, if not sooner, it's going to make the value of the other currencies that we hold even better. So that could, what I'm hearing from some of the traders is we may even see the increases in those other currencies that we hold as a result. So that's really exciting. That's really good for me. I think everything else, guys, we've talked about so much to where you've got a handle on it. I think anything else now would be just so much redundancy. You guys probably don't need it. I think you're ready. You're almost ready for your graduation. Go pick up your cap and gown, and let's all meet at the redemption centers.